When it comes to getting the UBC Okanagan story out to the region, nation, and the world, you can always count on the expertise of UBC's University Relations team to tell it like it is. Heading the excellent team of specialists is Director Bud Mortenson, a seasoned professional who sees a bright and engaging future for our community and beyond. And he's today's guest on UBC's Next Big Thing. What does the Director of University Relations do?
A little bit of everything. We do community relations. We do a little bit of government relations, working with our MLAs and MPs in the region. We also have a communication services group, so we do a lot of internal communications on campus and media relations as well. So we're the ones that are helping to tell the stories of the achievements and accomplishments of people at the university, students and faculty and staff.
To tell the story of the university, how hard is that?
It's easy to tell the stories. It's sometimes more difficult to tell the larger, all-encompassing things because there's so much going on, and you tend to be drawn into the particular achievements or activities that are happening. We have a community that on any given day we might have 10,000 people on campus, and every one of those people has a story and is engaged in some way with either the community beyond the campus or the community on campus. So there's a wealth of opportunity to find interesting things to talk about and tell stories about.
University Relations takes on the commitment of the community engagement piece, and it's an important piece to the university. So why is that so important?
Well, it's important to the university, in particular the Okanagan campus, because this campus was created as a result of the community wanting to have a university like ours in the region. There are examples of the Faculty of Applied Science was encouraged to create a School of Engineering here, and that was a direct result of the engineering community, that sector, saying to UBC and the provincial government, we'd like to see engineering taught here and have engineering graduates. Hopefully they'll stay in the region if they're educated here. We can see the examples of that community engagement and community driver for many of the programs that we have.
What I always hear is usually cities that have a university within them are doing brilliantly well. There's something about that synergy between a university and the community that builds great things. What can you say about how that's working for this community?
We are still very much in the early days of what a great university can do in a region, but we do know that great communities and great regions around the world do have outstanding universities. Having a university like University of British Columbia here in the Okanagan and for the southern interior is an extraordinary benefit for the region, and being in a region like this is an extraordinary benefit for UBC.
Now, that partnership is because there's so many exciting things happening in this region, from the wine industry to innovation to technology to agriculture. There's so many things going on that research that we're doing has opportunity to really, really make a difference.
It does indeed. Sometimes it's difficult to pull back and see the big picture because the examples that we can bring up are so interesting. And you mentioned the wine sector, for example. If we look at what the Faculty of Management is doing with the wine sector, providing access to international academic excellence from the Bordeaux region of France, for example. We're actively working with industry sectors to connect them with other areas around the world that may face similar challenges to the ones we face here, seeking global markets, for example. How do we do that effectively as a fairly small production area competing with much, much larger areas of production around the world? So our Faculty of Management is being a bit of a facilitator in those conversations with our local sector, networking with other areas around the world like ours. We have a number of examples of how the university is working with sectors to solve challenges. They may be unique to the Okanagan in Canada, but they may also be shared by other regions around the world. We know in our green roof research, for example, that things that we learn here in the Okanagan can be applied pretty much anywhere in the world where water might be scarce, and you're trying to develop green roof technology in places that don't have a lot of water. That is research, but it's also connected with the community. We have students that are engaged with businesses in the central Okanagan and up and down the Okanagan that are working on those kinds of challenges.
Research plays such an important role here in the university. We have such a cross section. I'm always hearing about new things that they're doing in the different faculties and different departments. How important is the research here and to the community and the role it plays in engaging the community?
If we are putting our time and effort and resources into something, we want to have some kind of academic basis for that to happen. And our research is extremely important to our professors and our graduate students and our undergraduate students. And it's also a powerful way of connecting with the needs of our region. So where we can, we like to see research that is a collaboration with whether it's local governments or nonprofit groups in the region or neighborhoods, to see that there is a connection with the community where we're helping to solve a need that has been identified by our partners in the community.
So what do you suppose is next for the university and our communities in working together? What does the future hold for that relationship?
Well, I think we will see deepening connections with our existing partners. I think we'll see many more new connections with partners up and down the Okanagan. There is a strong driver in the new president of the University of British Columbia with Arvind Gupta. He really would like to see stronger connections and more of them within the region. And not just for the Okanagan campus, but for UBC's Point Grey campus as well. He spoke recently to the Kelowna Chamber of Commerce and expressed a desire to see any division or barriers between the university and the community to be torn down, to have this a very porous boundary between academic and community.
Professor Gupta, our president here, has been quite active, like you said, recently speaking at the Chamber of Commerce, but in other presentations that he's been giving, talking about his vision for the future. And one of those is he'd like to see us move from kind of 25th in the world as far as top universities to one of the top 10 universities. Do you have any idea or could see what's it going to take for us to get our story out there that will help change that positioning of our rating as a university?
Community connections that we have will be vital in elevating our reputation and helping us to do the things that it will take to move into that very rarefied atmosphere of the top 10 public universities in the world. Universities don't move in the rankings independently. They do it through excellence in research. That builds reputation. They do it by attracting the very best students and the very best faculty members that are available. And that is done by building a reputation where people want to be here. And we already have that. People want to study here, they want to teach here, and they want to do research here because we're part of UBC. But we're a part of UBC in a very unique environment within the UBC ecosystem. It's great to be able to study, earn a UBC degree in the Okanagan. We see the Okanagan campus as having a competitive advantage against many other universities in Canada and certainly even around the world because of what we offer with a community around us that supports us as strongly as our communities do, and by the strength of our researchers and the professors that are teaching at this campus. That will grow, and we'll be able to build on that and contribute to UBC's success in achieving that top 10 status at some point.
What do the general public want to know about the university? I mean, you have to think about that when you're preparing your media releases and when you're thinking about what is it that needs to be communicated from this place. What do you think people need to know and want to know about what's taking place here?
Well, I think people want to know what matters about the work that we're doing here, how they can connect with the university. And one of the ways we can do that is show examples of connections that are already made. So how are researchers or students engaged with the organizations in the region? Quite often that's in the back of our mind when we're telling a story is we want this to be an example of how others might want to connect with the university to address their own challenges or explore issues that they're interested in.
How many people from the Okanagan or this region actually come to this university, and how much is it that we're actually bringing students, our students are coming outside of this region, and how does that play into what we're doing here?
Well, we're always mindful that this is a campus that was established to expand access to post-secondary education in the southern interior of British Columbia. And so we have between 20 and 30% of our students coming from the Okanagan region, and the remainder of them are coming from beyond the Okanagan, from the rest of British Columbia, Canada, and then international students.
I have a daughter that's 16 and preparing to make a decision about where she's going to go to school. And of course, I'm surrounded by her friends quite often. And I always say to them, you have a world-class top university in your backyard, and you really need to consider it. And yet sometimes I think when you've got it in your backyard, you're not necessarily thinking that that has its advantages. What would you say to those people that are looking and saying, it's in our backyard, but maybe we need to go somewhere else?
Right. I can give you a personal example of what I would say to people like that. I have two sons that are both attending university here at this campus. When they were still in high school, they were exploring all kinds of options for where they might go to university. And I counseled them to at least consider staying at home and getting a UBC degree right here in the Okanagan. That allows them to do it in a more cost-effective way than if they had gone outside the province or to the Lower Mainland to go to university. So they save money, but they also get an excellent education here. This is a UBC degree, and you could do it right here in our own backyard.
And that has so many advantages as well. Well, I'm a storyteller too. UBCO.TV tells stories often. The way we do it, of course, is through video. And recently, we partnered with University Relations in creating a campaign called Our Stories, which actually, I say creating, but you guys created the concept and the idea. Talk a little bit about why we did this and what are we featuring in these Our Stories?
The Our Stories campaign was targeted at trying to raise awareness of the true impact of our students in the community and the impact of the community in our students, the experiential learning opportunities that have been made available to them that help to transform their lives. And so we selected students from 6 different faculties to focus in on, and we explored the transformation of them as students and the impact that they were having with organizations in the community as part of their learning experience.
So we told their stories both through written word and through videos. And the reason I mention it is a lot of people travel in the airport. And they might be noticing a beautiful piece of, I think it's almost art, as they exit the airplane. Why tell our story on the wall of an airport?
Visibility, for one thing, and it is a bit of an installation there. It's an 80-foot long mural in the arrivals corridor at the airport. We knew that there was a lot of traffic there, that the people that move through the airport may not be aware that there's a UBC campus here. They may not know the region at all. And so one of the earliest introductions to the Okanagan when they arrive is an experience where they see some of the stories from the university. And again, these are stories that are focused on students and student experiences. And the installation at the airport is just one component of a much larger project, which includes some advertising and driving people to go to the website to discover the deep stories about these students. And the video stories are extraordinary. They really capture the spirit of the students and the impact that they've had in the projects they've been working on.
Well, we appreciate that you, in University Relations, Bud, your team, they're a great team, can tell a story, and that they do an excellent job of doing that.
Thank you. And there are, as I say, there are thousands of stories to tell. We have our work cut out for us if we ever try to want to capture even a small percentage of those.
You'll be out of breath before you know it.
It would be.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing a little bit about community engagement and why it's so important for UBC to stay connected.
Thank you for having me.
That wraps it up for this edition of UBC's Next Big Thing. Until next time, I'm Rosemary Jean Thompson. Have a great day.